Hello, my name is Ralf Friedrichs. I am an addiction recovery coach and the host of the Take Your Life Back Today show. As an addiction recovery coach, I want to share something about substance abuse. And let me be very clear because I want to leave an everlasting impact upon you. Just imagine being buried alive. Let's say you're in a coffin, but you also know that you're not dead. You shouldn't be there. You don't know how to open a coffin and push the enormous weight of the dirt that's upon the lid. You think about giving up and just wait for death to arrive. But you also think about banging on the coffin so that maybe you can unsettle the ground above the lid and maybe, just maybe, someone might see and start digging down towards you to help you. That is what it's like to find yourself at the lowest point of alcohol and or drug addiction. You know you need help. You know you can't do it completely on your own. You just don't know where to turn for that help. In reality, there are people who can help you just standing outside on top near the grave. But you just don't know that. You think you're going to die. Usually, though, people don't think of death when they're habitually using drugs. In order to feed an addiction, you have to be good at repressing the fear of death. I often ask you, my audience, did it ever cross your mind when you started drinking and drugging and then starting abusing both that you just might overdose? With this, I just leave one other thought in your mind. Don't be that person in the coffin banging, hoping that someone might hear you. Reach out, get the help that you need, take the first step, call people like myself. I am an addiction recovery coach at 844-405-HELP, or get a hold of people like Larry Geis from the Geis Academy at www.odysseyconsultant.org. You can call him at 516-458-2741. People like Larry Geis and myself, addiction recovery coaches, life coaches, are standing by, waiting for you to contact us. Remember, we don't know where you are, but you know where I am. Each and every time you see this video, I give out my information. And if you don't want to verbally talk on the phone, you can text me at 631-599-0218. Remember, don't be that person in the coffin just laying there waiting for someone to help you, because unless you reach out to people, people won't know that you need help. Get the help you need by calling me at 844-405-HELP and let me help you take your life back before your life is gone. Like I said, get a hold of people like Larry Geis from the Geis Academy. 516-458-2741. Larry Geis can be a crutch for you to lean on during your depression, during your addiction, during your sobriety, during your recovery, through each and every stage. Larry and I always tell people we don't care where you came from. Not that we don't care in a sense that we just don't care, but it doesn't matter, because today is a new day. Today is a day for change, and tomorrow is the future for you to plan. Get a hold of Larry, guys. 516-458-2741, and let Larry take back your life. Folks, globaleyeglasses.com, where they are focused on saving you money. Go to www.globaleyeglasses.com and see over 1,200 frames. Look at all the great lenses they offer. They have regular standard progressives. They have digital progressives. And a progressive lens, for the people who don't know, is a no-line bifocal. They have line bifocals, whether it being straight line or round top. They have a single vision. They have transition, photochromatic. They have polarization lenses, regular tinted lenses, high index, which is a thinner lens, shatterproof lenses for your children, and plastic lenses. And as far as the coatings are concerned, they have anti-reflecting coating, which is for night driving and computer work. They have UV coating, which helps you against UV rays, and scratch coating, which help prevent scratches on your lenses. Go to www.globaleyeglasses.com and let them focus on saving you money. Folks, we have a long one today, and what that consists of, a lot of people, they compare depression and addiction being one, but they're dual diseases, and a lot of people that are addicted to drugs and alcohol say they further drink or further do drugs to help with their depression, but what they don't realize is that it actually gets worse. Everyone has bad days, whether it's because of problems at home, at work, or with any relationship. We all experience down periods in our lives. For most people, the down periods come and go in a reasonable, ordinary fashion and can be remedied by things that make us happy. But for those who suffer from depression, the emotional low periods don't go away that easy. Clinical depression is a series of mental disability with severe consequences for individuals and his or her loved ones. Depression affects millions of people, keeping them from living in normal, happy lives. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention Center, otherwise known as the CDC, estimates that 10% of Americans suffer from psychiatric disorder. The following groups have the highest risk for depression, according to the data compiled by the CDC. Middle-aged adults between the ages of 45 and 64, females, African Americans and Hispanics, people who are unable to work or are chronically unemployed, people who lack private medical insurance or public health benefits. Substance abuse is common among people who are battling depression disorder. Because alcohol is a central nervous system depressant, the use of this drug tends to trigger depression symptoms like lethargy, sadness, and hopefulness. However, many depressed individuals reach for drugs and alcohol as a way to lift their spirits or to numb the painful thoughts. As a result, depression and substance abuse feed into each other, and one condition will often make the other one a lot worse. When individuals have both depression and addiction, it is called a dual diagnosis. A dual diagnosis can be made up of any combination of mental disorder, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, and addiction, drugs, alcohol, sex, or gambling. Dual diagnoses that include depressive disorders are among the most common forms of problem. In fact, the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry reports that 1 in 3 adults who struggle with alcohol and drug abuse also suffer from depression. Clinical depression poses a high risk of accidental injury, self-harm, and the worst, suicide. Depression can also suppress the immune system and awaken ailments and chronic illnesses. When you add drugs or alcohol to the mix, the risk to your physical and emotional health increases enormously. Enrolling in a specialized treatment program can help you avoid the devastating effects of depression and substance abuse and help you create a healthy, satisfying life that you deserve. Is it depression or just the blues? While most of us have been through periods of sadness, grief, irritability, or frustration, there's a difference between having a clinical depression and suffering from a temporary case of the blues. Clinical depression lasts for at least 2 weeks. People with depression may experience 5 or more of the following symptoms on a daily basis: feelings of hopelessness, anxiety, loss of appetite, weight loss, increased appetite, weight gain, sleeping too much or too little, ache and pains, loss of energy, feelings of guilt, a sense of worthlessness, general irritability, difficulty concentrating on daily tasks, a loss of interest in activities or hobbies, suicidal thoughts or suicide attempts. Depression frequently manifests itself in feelings of sadness, low energy, and hopelessness. However, some people, especially males, experience depression as irritability, hostility, or anger. Regardless of how depression appears to others, it should be clear that this mental condition is different from the individual's usual emotional state. Feelings of grief and bereavement after a serious loss such as death of a loved one or loss of a home are not considered to be the same as clinical depression unless these feelings continue for more, I repeat, for more than 2 weeks. Unlike clinical depression, a sad mood or a case of the blues probably won't interfere with your ability to work or pursue your usual activities. When you are depressed by loss of a job or the end of a relationship, you can see a connection between the event and your emotions. And you know that the emotional state will come to an end after the crisis has resolved. With clinical depression, however, the basic tasks of day-to-day life may seem impossible and the mood seems permanent. A gateway to addiction. Depression is all too often the gateway into drug and alcohol use. It is easy to see why those who experience feelings of depression take alcohol and drugs in order to escape their negative emotions. But those who are clinically depressed are going to stay depressed if they do not seek treatment. And if these individuals are using drugs and alcohol on a regular basis, chances are their usage will soon turn into full-blown addiction as they continue in a vain attempt to self-medicate. The warning signs of addictions include the following, folks. Listen up, please. Tolerance. Your body becomes accustomed to the effects of the drug and requires larger amounts to achieve the same effect. Withdrawal. If you reduce your intake of the drug, you experience physical symptoms like nervousness, nausea, tremors, cold sweat, or agitation. Remorse. You feel guilty or sad after you use the drug, even though you take the drug in order to feel better. You see how that alcohol and drugs actually make depression worse? Relapse. Whenever you try to stop using a drug, cravings or withdrawal symptoms drive you back to your destructive habits. For some individuals who have depression and substance use disorder, giving up drugs or alcohol can actually make depression worse. If you've been using drugs and alcohol for years to bury your depressive symptoms, you may find your depression rises to the surface in sobriety. That's why it's so very important to receive integrated treatment for both depression and substance abuse at the same time. Without treating the depression that drives your addiction, or vice versa, you're likely to go back to your addictive behaviors as soon as you finish rehab. In many cases, people who have depression and substance abuse drop out of conventional rehab programs because sobriety is too much to handle without the right level of therapeutic support. Recovering from depression and substance abuse. What makes dual diagnosis so hard to treat is that each disorder can intensify the symptoms of the other. Drinking an excessive amount of alcohol, for instance, is not going to make depression better. In fact, it will make the condition worse. And conversely, if a person is an alcoholic, their depression will likely keep them from attaining the proper mindset to overcome their addiction to alcohol. There's a high level of complexity involving the treating of dual diagnosis patients. It is a very well known fact that those who have dual diagnosis will not get the care they need in traditional, one-dimensional rehab programs. Only those programs equipped to handle psychiatric problems, as well as drug and alcohol addiction, will be able to assist a proper detox, counseling, and aftercare planning. According to the Substance Abuse Mental Health Service Administration, an integrated treatment plan includes these goals. Helping the client understand the nature of depression. Teaching the client that recovery from depression and addiction is possible. Motivating the client to make major changes in his or her life. Giving the client practical skills for handling negative thoughts. Helping the client identify the change of addictive behavior patterns. Medication therapy is the core component of recovery for many dual diagnosis patients who are faced with depression. Antidepressant drugs have helped many individuals who struggle with this disorder cope with their symptoms and lead stable, fulfilling lives. Finding the right approach to pharmacological treatment can take time and patience, but with the help of qualified staff who are trained in dual diagnosis treatment, prescription drugs can provide valuable support. Support, encouragement, and motivation are essential tools in battle against depression and substance abuse. Clinical depression can drain your energy and make you feel rehab is a hopeless cause. Individual counseling, peer group support, and family counseling can give you the strength you need to continue your recovery journey in spite of all the challenges you will, not might, you will face. Just remember, The following groups have the highest risk of depression. Middle-aged adults between 45 and 64. You might be watching me falling in. I know I fall in that category. Females, African American, and Hispanics. People who are unable to work, who are chronically unemployed. People who lack private medical insurance or public health benefits. Substance abuse is common among people who are battling depressive disorder because alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. The use of this drug tends to trigger depression symptoms like lethargy, sadness, and hopelessness. However, many depressed individuals reach for drugs or alcohol as a way to lift their spirits to numb painful thoughts. As a result, depression becomes actually worse. Is it depression or just the blues? If you experience more than 5 or more of these, it's depression, folks. Feelings of hopelessness, anxiety, loss of appetite, weight loss, increased appetite, weight gain, sleeping too much, sleeping not enough, tearfulness, aches and pains, loss of energy, feelings of guilt, a sense of worthlessness, general irritability, difficulty concentrating on daily tasks, a loss of interest in activities or hobbies, suicidal thoughts, possibly even suicide attempt. Depression frequently manifests itself feelings of sadness, low energy, and hopelessness. Depression is all too often the gateway into drug and alcohol use. It is easy to see why. People think that when they're feeling depressed, that by having alcohol and drugs that it alleviates that. It might be true in a temporary fix like a band-aid, but what actually happens is alcohol and drugs actually accelerate depression. Some of the warning signs of addiction include tolerance. Your body becomes accustomed to the effects of the drug and requires larger amounts to achieve the same effects. Withdrawals. If you reduce your intake of drug, you experience physical symptoms like nervousness, nausea, tremors, and cold sweats and agitation. Remorse. You feel guilty or sad after you've used a drug, even though you take a drug in order to feel better. And the possibility of relapse. Whenever you try to stop using the drugs or alcohol, cravings or withdrawal symptoms drive you back to your old destructive habits. Remember that drugs, alcohol, and depression gets classified as dual diagnosis. It's hard to treat and it can intensify symptoms of the other. Drinking excessive amounts of alcohol, for instance, is not going to make depression better. In fact, it will make the condition more serious. One of the goals in treating dual diagnosis is helping the client understand the nature of the depression, get to the bottom, get to the root. Teaching the client that recovery from depression and addiction is possible as a dual diagnosis. Motivating the client to major changes in his or her life, giving the client practical skills for handling negative thoughts, helping the client identify change addictive behavior patterns. Folks, what we just discussed, depression and addiction, do you see how one is completely opposite the other? They can't coexist together unless you have proper treatment. And one will not alleviate the other. Certainly not alcohol and drugs will make your depression any better. As I said before, what it is a band-aid. It is a gateway to temporary fix, but it also will, and I repeat, will make your depression worse. Remember what I said when we went and spoke about the person laying in the coffin alive, knowing that they are dead. Knowing that they're not dead, I should say. And one of the things that I said is that people out there, including yourself maybe, you know you need help. You know you can't do it on your own, but you don't know how to get that help. And it is people like myself and Larry Geis and so many thousands of other life coaches, addiction recovery coaches that are out there for you to help. But no matter how hard You bang over a lid. If you're one of these people that are in a coffin alive, hoping that somebody might hear you, it is not possible. You have to reach out. Depression, alcohol, and drug addiction, they do not go away by themselves. You need to make the move and get the help that you need, and you need to reach out. Remember, I want to leave you this one, though. Don't be that person in the coffin banging for someone to hear you, because nobody will hear you, but you are the only person that can reach out. And you can reach out by calling me at 844-405-HELP. You can reach out by texting me at 631-599-0218. I am here as a lifeline, a crutch, a support unit. Larry Geis is there for the same reasons. We are here to help you. I don't do these videos because I like to see myself on camera. I do them because this is my rehab in helping you, because you, as my audience, help me, because I educate myself each and every video I do. Folks, we have hit a plateau of 720 videos. That's a lot of knowledge that I absorb to do these. Not only do I prepare these videos, get the information ready, I read and study them, then I actually display them into the camera to you in your home, and then I produce it, so I go through things that I need to edit. This is a great rehab tool that people can utilize. This rehab program that I have for myself, or I should say rehab tool that I have for myself, is so effective that I'm able to do it without any professional help other than my own help and a strong desire to want to be better, a strong desire to want to live a healthy life. And in conjunction with my strong desire, and you as my audience listening to me each and every day, I include my higher power, God, to guide and direct me. And this is what you folks just need to do, but you need to start reaching out. Alcohol and drug addiction will never ever just go away on its own. One of a few things can happen to you without proper help. Death will surely come to you, whether it's by Mother Nature, meaning that the drugs and alcohol just took your body parts, eliminated them, and killed you, whether it's because you were destructive behind the wheel and possibly killed yourself in an accident, or worse than that, because taking someone else's life because of your irresponsibility of drug and alcohol abuse without even getting the help that you needed. That's another way that you can lose your life. Or you can lose your life not in a permanent life way, but in a permanent freedom way, and that is by going to jail for the rest of your life. But there are many other ways to lose your life. Isn't today a great day to start taking your life back? Reach out to me, 844-405-HELP, and let me help you take your life back. I hope to God, no matter where you are watching me, that you have the best day of your life. But I hope and I pray that you all have a sober rest of your life, and I hope and I pray that you reach out to get the help that you need. If you're depressed, don't use drugs and alcohol to get rid of depression. It'll make it worse. If you're not depressed, but you have alcohol and drug addiction issues, get the help you need. Don't be that person in the coffin banging on the lid. People cannot hear you. You need to step up and say, I have a problem. And there's no shame in it. If anything, I congratulate you for facing your demons, for facing the fact that you need help. Folks, may God bless you and have a great day.